What up, everybody? I hope everyone's having a great start to their Memorial Day weekend. And TimDillon gets interviewed by a literal child, and I don't know why they keep letting this woman interview people. She's the same woman that she went like to some lake somewhere and interviewed a bunch of conservatives and tried to tell them, "Don't you guys have enough stuff? Like you have a boat. Why do you need like more stuff?" And they're like, "What? Who the hell are you to tell us what we can and can't have? We work hard. See, we work for our stuff." It was the most bizarre, insufferable interview. And she's back, and this is her. And, I don't know, let's get in it.
Good? Okay, great.
Cringe.
Do you want to talk about your special?
Sure.
Give me the short version.
It's a comedy special on Netflix, and I think it's the most important thing ever, and it will change the course of human history. So you should watch if you'd like to be a part of that. As we know, podcasters are like the most important people in the world. Actually, we didn't know that, but now I've realized it. That we are the arbiters of all things, and comedians matter.
Yeah.
We thought we were just trying to get over stuff that our family did to us, but it's big news. So it's super important, and you should watch it with your whole family, and the course of history will change. There's a lot going on.
So it's funny because he has to explain how life works to her, and she doesn't seem to get that these people have an audience, and comedians appeal to their base. They start to garner an audience, and people kind of expect some things, and that's why I do like it when comedians switch it up and kind of be like, you know, Bill Burr is a good example. Everyone hates Bill Burr now. I don't know what his deal is, but he's like the sixth member of The View now. The guy's a total cucklord. I think he has to get permission from his wife to do anything now. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. There's something that's wrong with that dude now. He's got like the mind virus. You can go back and watch his old stuff and then look at what he says now, and he's become the person that he hated. But she is obsessed with the Rogan sphere. I don't get it. Like, yes, obviously people know that if they go on Rogan, they're going to get a huge exposure. Like, I don't understand why she doesn't get that. And it's like having to explain things to a child.
Okay, just something else related to that. So one comedian who was like kind of in that world, you know,
Yes.
Fox, etc.
Yeah.
Why is she so cringe and weird? It's like she's trying to be so cool. She's never seen... I don't think she's ever watched any of Tim's material. And she's kind of being like, wow, this guy's really easy to talk to.
That I tried to interview. His manager told me that he wouldn't do an interview with me because Rogan would get mad at him for talking to CNN. And
That's untrue. That's completely insane.
Okay.
That's completely insane.
Okay.
That is completely nuts. He was afraid of you.
Oh, okay.
He thought you were going to come in and really rough him up or something. There's no such thing as Rogan would be mad at someone for talking. That's crazy.
That's
Oh, well,
ridiculous.
that's good to hear. Okay.
No.
Good. I'll let him know.
You think that's...
Like, what? This chick thinks she is that important. She thinks she's that important that if someone talks to her, that Rogan's going to cancel them.
works. Rogan sends emails. I know you don't.
I
think
would.
but that's a crazy thing. Like Rogan's like, "What are you doing? Oh, you're doing this? No, do Gutfeld instead." No one cares.
I mean,
No one cares what anyone does. And the idea, I think people think life's very interesting. We see this with the QAnon people,
right?
Where they're like, there's tunnels, and you go, it's really just rich people.
Okay.
And you go, well, but they're doing all these terrible things. You go, absolutely, but they always have. And a lot of them always probably will if they can get away with it. But the levels of intrigue that people build around these things, I don't find that they're not that super interesting, you know?
I just want to be clear though.
But no,
This
that's
didn't
just very
come
funny.
from. It didn't
But
come
it
from
would
like
be
a
funny
commenter.
if he canceled my appearance because of this.
Yeah, he would never do that.
I can't imagine any manager saying that. I mean, that's
Oh no, the
crazy.
manager I spoke to directly. in
No,
person.
I believe that they did. It's just such a funny and
So you didn't speak to them, you spoke to the manager, and the manager told you that. Maybe the manager just thinks CNN is like a death wish for a comedian to go on. Only somebody like Tim can do this, and it'll make him more popular. Like, they held on to this interview for over a month, and he said just release it uncut, but they wanted to clip it and try to make him look bad, but the guy's so likable that they're like, how do we make this guy look like a right-wing asshole? And they couldn't figure it out, so they just released it. That's what their intention was. They were like, oh dude, we're gonna get him on, we'll ask him the Joe Rogan question, and then he's just answers truthfully, like, what are you talking about? You sound like an idiot.
thing.
Okay.
To me.
All right. Well, that's good to know. Do you think Rogan would talk to me?
I don't know.
You're nobody. You're nobody. Why would he? And you're cringe and weird and awkward.
I mean, he's a big get.
I know,
He's a
it's
big
very
get.
important.
So, I mean, you could try, you know? I don't know if I had his money if I'd be doing any interview. I don't know if I'd be here. I think I would be on a boat. I probably wouldn't be doing the podcast. I'd be somewhere else. I don't know if you'd be able to find me with his level of income. I think I'd be gone.
Can you talk about, like, you had Steve Bannon on pretty
Yes.
recently. You had JD Vance on in the fall.
Yes. We reached out to Bernie, said no, said he couldn't do it because of the schedule. We like and respect Bernie. We reached out to Tim Walz. No response.
Okay.
There's a reason for that. Because they're reptilian people. So they're not capable of doing a long form content. That's why they will only go on places that they can do a 5-minute interview, 10-minute interview, if you're not hostile to them. If you're not hostile to them, they'll do a 10-minute interview. But sitting somewhere for 2 hours and having to actually defend your positions to people that are challenging you, they're not capable of doing that. That's why they won't do it. And this woman doesn't see that. She thinks these people are like the great intellectual minds of our time. Bernie fucking Sanders retard.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But what I'm interested in is, like, well, actually, I want to separate those two, but, like, Vance coming on your show.
Yes.
So he kind of talked about what he would do in office, or what he and Trump would do in office. This was before the election.
Right.
All right, Trump's been in office for some months now. Do you think about that interview in a different way at all? Like,
I would have asked more about the tech people. I didn't know. I had no idea that Elon was going to have a major role. I don't think anyone did.
Yeah.
I would have asked more questions about that.
Okay, Trump said at every single one of his rallies, Elon was going to be... They talked about Doge in every rally. Like, the only way you didn't know that is if you never watched one of his rallies, including the one where they tried to assassinate him at. Like, I don't understand when people say this. It's like, either you just never watched or you really didn't know. And I don't blame somebody like him. He's probably a very busy man. He doesn't have time for that kind of thing. But it's just weird. It's like, dude, he said it all the time. He brought Elon with him to his rallies all the time. Elon did his own rallies and was like, yeah, we're going to do a Doge. It's just crazy to me.
I would have asked more questions about people being deported because they've criticized Israel on a college campus, which I think is silly. I would have, but I didn't have the foresight to know that that was a plan. I know that I think a lot of people are not thrilled with those things.
Yeah.
Both on the right and the left.
A lot of his interview with you was about portraying him and Trump as, like, the anti-war candidates who were opposed to these adventures overseas.
Yes.
And though he didn't directly say they would end the war in Gaza, he had referred to, wanton killing of Palestinians.
Right.
So what do you make of their policy since then?
I think it's disappointing. I think it's disappointing that to deport someone who wrote an op-ed or participated in a protest, and I may not agree with these people, but if they're here on a legal resident visa and they didn't commit a crime and you can't show that they're supporting Hamas, I think deporting them on the grounds that they said something objectionable isn't good. And I think that writing a blank check for whatever Israel wants to do is not good, in the same way that I oppose the idea of just completely having an open-ended commitment to the Ukraine. It's not because I think Vladimir Putin's a great guy. It's because I think every war in the history of mankind has been ended with some compromise and usually some territory deal. This is like every one, right? That hasn't been told.
Ukraine's going to have to give up Crimea. I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Obliteration. So my whole thing is I lived through 9/11. I lived through the Iraq War. I lived through the war in Afghanistan. I had friends die. We had this idea that we were sold that we were going around democratizing these countries. It was complete, insanity. We really learned the no-bid contracts and the giveaways, and now the counties around Washington, D.C. are the richest in America, and you have this permanent war machine, and they're, and what attracted me to a lot of what Vance said in that interview was that he was saying things like, we don't want to run the American economy on permanent war, and we don't think it's a good thing.
But the wars continue.
That's why I'm disappointed, and that's why...
Dude, they act like Trump can just snap his fingers. Like, the war was going on the entire time Biden was in office, and you said nothing. And all of a sudden, he's been there 100 days, and you won't let him try and get this over? Like, women like this, they're so insufferable. Like, they have no common sense. They don't know how the world really works. She's probably gone to college her whole life, and then she got an internship at CNN as soon as she got out of college. She has no idea what life is really like. She's been in school her whole life, and then goes to CNN, and she's around a bunch of left-wing lunatics.
I don't want to go to Iran. I think that would be a big mistake.
But do you feel like Vance, used you or spun you?
I don't know if Vance has the power you think he does.
Yeah,
he's
he's
vice president.
vice
I don't know
president.
how powerful the vice president is. Historically, they're not super powerful.
Yeah.
If you read the group chat, Vance has expressed some disagreements with
Yeah.
Trump, I think. That's pretty obvious. I don't think Vance can wave a wand, but if the question is, if I could go back in time in a time machine and ask about tech people
You'd ask different questions.
the war with Iran, I would have
fair.
asked more of those questions, but as you said, he was very open about the fact that, and Trump was very open about the fact that they were, the anti-war people. So hopefully they remain the anti-war people, and we don't go to war with Iran, and they find a way to end this conflict in the Middle East, which is absolutely terrible and heartbreaking. And, I think a lot of people are disappointed with some of these deportations and things like that. I think it's a very fair critique.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we're going to look at one more clip that I think is good, and you guys should check out the whole thing because it is quite insightful. She has to have everything explained to her like she's never heard these things. It's like the first time to her. It's really bizarre. It's like you can walk into like any bar anywhere and just start talking to people, and you'll hear all these same opinions, and she's like blown away, like, oh my god, I've never heard this before. Everything in her mind is like, but we're the good ones, right? But we're the good ones. No, you're not.
I interview like regular people,
course.
non-media people, non-extremists also.
Right.
Just like regular Trump
I
supporters
put
a
them
lot.
in the extremist category. Don't put me in the non-extremist category. That's got to be the most boring people.
Those people don't think that.
Bro, could you imagine her sitting down with anyone that's an extremist?
About foreign policy or Israel or the student deportations. Sometimes if I ask, I was just in South Dakota, asking someone about the student deportations, he didn't know what I was talking about.
Right.
Why would he care? It doesn't affect his life at all. That's what they don't get. They think like he's an American citizen. He doesn't give a shit. Like, it's just so bizarre to me. These people, they think like people that have their life, they're busy, they're working, they're going to school. I need to care about some student that lied on his application for a visa and said he wasn't going to support a terrorist organization. They don't care, dude. Everybody's got their own life going on.
So, I guess I'm curious whether you think or expect or hope that just as these politicians have seen something to gain in your audience, do you think they'll listen at all?
Will politicians listen to their constituents?
No.
Yeah.
What a great question with an unknowable answer. I mean,
Trump's the only one that's done that. He'll have people scream at him at his rallies, and he'll have them just come up on stage, tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Only politician I've ever seen do that.
I think a lot of people elected Barack Obama not thinking that a lot of his cabinet was going to be directly drafted from Citigroup, right? I think a lot of people elected Donald Trump hoping that we were not going to continue foreign wars and spending American money for foreign wars. You know, I mean, this is the whole thing. Everybody campaigns on a laundry list of things they're going to do, and are they going to do them, and are they going to listen? I mean, it's a great question.
Does anyone ever back channel with you?
I think there's people that are frustrated. I think that I don't think it's a monolith. I think in a presidential administration, you have people that feel very differently. This is all being publicized right now over tariffs.
Yeah.
There are people that felt differently about tariffs, about all kinds of things. Do I talk to certain people? Sure. And some of them have different opinions, but I don't think it's like they're doubting the overall course of action. I think it's just like you have people that are more hawkish, and there are people that are like much less hawkish. There's people that think that you need to confront Iran, and there's people that believe that would be a terrible strategic mistake. I would be of the latter group.
Yeah.
But those are two ideas that are existing in that space.
You said that you often get same questions over and over in interviews like this.
Yeah.
What do you think is the right question to be asking?
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know the right question to ask.
How long have you been a comedian?
I've been a comedian since 2010.
Yeah.
It's about 15 years.
Hasn't it changed a lot?
Comedy's changed, yeah.
Yeah.
Why does she do that thing where she talks with her eyes closed? It's so, she's so insufferable, man.
Tell me more about that.
Everything.
I didn't realize every comedian has a podcast, no matter how.
Well, here's the thing. It's like comedy used to be an offshoot of traditional Hollywood.
That is comedy.
There were a ton of gatekeepers that had the power to give you the special, the part, the role, the show, the deal. Now you have to do a lot of it yourself. You
gotta make it happen.
Stuff on the internet, and it can either connect with an audience, or it can, or it won't. And then, there are people that have large platforms that can share their audience with you, people like Joe. And, I think that's what you see right now happening in the creative space is like, it's a bottom up. It's not top down. It's people that are just, people that are coming up from social media, a lot of people on TikTok. If you look at Coachella and all these people, right? What's going on? Who are these people? But they're people that exist on TikTok, and they exist. And you get ready with them, and they tell you about skincare, and they love their food influencers, although they're all thin and hot, but they all eat food all day, apparently, and they know everything about food, but they're hot and also in great shape, but love food. Or they have a depression, and they talk about that, or whatever it is. And they just go directly to a group of people that finds that content
garnering an audience
appealing, and those people then create audiences based on these things. Whereas
I've never had anyone explain this to me. I've always just seen it and thought, okay, this is how it's done. Like, she doesn't realize this. It's crazy. It's like talking to a child.
At one point, you really did have to go through a process to have any type of career in the space of entertainment.
One comedian I spoke to said the decision maker used to be like Hollywood executives, people who ran the late night shows, and now the decision maker is the YouTube algorithm.
It's not the worst quote, I think, you have these algorithms that push certain things, and, but you can also, if you do interesting stuff, I think you'll find an audience. I don't know how big it'll be, but I think you'll find an audience that's pretty cool, that's, pretty sustainable if you
that's catered to you
doing good stuff. Doesn't mean it'll be biggest audience.
All right, that's enough, man. You guys go check out the whole thing if you want, but these were just the most insightful parts that I liked a lot, and I wanted to share. All right. Let me know what you guys think. Peace. Have a good Memorial Day weekend.